Okay, so apparently, here it is. We're going to watch it. We missed it by a few minutes, so I'm just going to... here it is. Apologies for that, anyone who happened to tune into this. If not, then I'm lucky. But I want to react and see what she says here. I guess I can edit this later. Oh, it must be so hard. It's got to be hard for her.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah, okay.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, that's like, so the coke is hitting her, or whatever it is.
Thank you all. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So let me say, and I love you back. And I love you back.
I'm from a middle class
So let me say,
background.
my heart is full today. My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say,
You did vote for it.
hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up, and as long as we keep fighting. To my beloved Doug and our family, I love you so very much. To President Biden and Dr. Biden, thank you for your faith and support. To Governor Walz and the Walz family, I know your service to our nation will continue.
But Biden's probably asleep. He'll watch it later.
And to my extraordinary team, to the volunteers who gave so much of themselves, to the poll workers and the local election officials, I thank you all. Look, I am so proud of the race we ran, and the way we ran it, over the 107 days of this campaign. We have been intentional about building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background, united by love of country with enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future. And we did it with the knowledge that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Now, I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
You don't have to really say that, right?
A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. and anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States.
Oh, so that would include the First Amendment, correct? Just want to put that out there again.
To our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best. That is a fight I will never give up.
Oh my God.
I will never give up.
People weeping.
The fight for a future where Americans can pursue their dreams, ambitions, and aspirations, where the women of America have the freedom to make decisions about their own body and not have their government telling them what to do. We will never give up the fight to protect our schools and our streets from gun violence. And America, we will never give up the fight for our democracy, for the rule of law, for equal justice, and for the sacred idea that every one of us, no matter who we are or where we start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be respected and upheld.
One of them is the right to free speech and express yourself online.
And we will continue to wage this fight in the voting booth.
It's the first one, actually.
In the courts and in the public square. And we will also wage it in quieter ways, in how we live our lives, by treating one another with kindness and respect, by looking in the face of a stranger and seeing a neighbor, by always using our strength to lift people up, to fight for the dignity that all people deserve. The fight for our freedom will take hard work, but like I always say, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work.
Get it, girl.
And the fight for our country is always worth it.
Start preaching.
It is always
here it
worth
comes.
it. To the young people who are watching, it is... I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed.
They don't care.
But please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together. Look, many of you know I started out as a prosecutor, and throughout my career, I saw people at some of the worst times in their lives.
And you come from a middle-class
People who
background.
had suffered great harm and great pain.
At your hand.
And yet found within themselves the strength and the courage and the resolve to take the stand, to take a stand, to fight for justice, to fight for themselves, to fight for others. So let their courage be our inspiration. Let their determination be our charge. And I'll close with this. There's an adage an historian once called a law of history, true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service. HU. And may that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you all.
Keep in touch. Well, there you have it, folks. She's gone. Still VP, though, right? For whatever, another couple months. So we'll probably still have to, I guess, see her face, whatever it is. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about. First of all, apologies for delay. Anyone who catches this, I don't know if I can edit a live at some point, go into YouTube studio and fix it or something. But there was a delay. I thought the speech was starting live, and I had a feed that was going, and apparently I was behind on it. So anyway, here we are. That was the speech. Now, I say this. I'm looking at the people in the audience crying and that look on their face, and mostly, the younger kids and such, and people are disappointed today. And again, I remind people that it's unfortunate when you're awake to the magic show. I'm looking at it from a totally different perspective. And those of us who are in the know are looking at it from a totally different perspective than the people who are totally oblivious to the magic show, to what's going on, right? Like, Dorothy and the Tin Men and the Scarecrow and Toto and such, and they all, the Cowardly Lion, they expected the wizard to, when they got there, it was like this big thing, right? Expecting to be this guy. But when you pull away that curtain and you recognize what's really going on, it makes things different. This facade, this show, this magic act that was performed on the United States, the citizens of the U.S., by catapulting this woman into the spotlight as if she was some superstar of political capital, and she was someone who had a history, and we all loved her and adored her, and it was now her time. It's just a total act. It's a sham. You could, if you want to, as a Harris supporter, stand there and tell me that 6 months ago, a year ago, you were had pins and you knew who the VP was, and you knew she was this powerful black woman named Kamala Harris, black Indian woman. You didn't. Everyone forgot all about her when she tried to run before, and nobody knew who she was, and nobody cared when she disappeared until Biden picked her for VP. And even then, nobody cared. So the whole thing is an act. They threw all the celebrities at you and all the musicians and everything, and you guys are falling for it. So watching it, I'm slightly envious watching the youth with that look in their eyes of like, this is America, and there's this beautiful woman of color up there, and she lost, but she's given this powerful, moving speech, which of course had to be written for her. You know, like, and I understand that from a time in my life back when I thought democracy was what it was, and our country ran the way I thought it ran, and we had hope in our eyes, and we believed that, you know, our vote counted, you know, it counted and it mattered, and these politicians looking out for us, and we found that one, you know, I believed all that. So I do understand the people crying and in tears looking at this like, wow, that was my candidate. That's who I was going for. That's who I wanted. So they're disappointed. But I'm sorry, when you know the game, when you see the lies being told, I mean, this woman referenced the Constitution and said that that's her first dedication to the Constitution. Well, the First Amendment in the Constitution is a freedom for speech. And no one has done more to totally trample that freedom than the Democrats. Suppression of speech, censorship, using the social media platforms, aligning themselves with big tech to censor, suppress, and to push their agenda and make sure no one got in the way of theirs, to fix elections to a certain degree, like they did previously with Trump, the Biden laptop, we can go on and on, Russiagate, all these things which have been debunked and which have been totally, you know, of course, the mainstream media is not telling you this. So for all those people who don't know any of that and they think, wow, this woman really sounded great and she represents democracy, she's got hope, she sounds great. Yeah, you guys are looking at her with that sense of joy and again, the sense of depression now that she lost. And I feel you. But for those of us who are aware of the magic show, we're aware of what the criminal is selling us, the big bad wolf in grandma's clothing, when we know that that's the big bad wolf, and yet he's still trying to pretend to be something else. It's hard for us to watch something like that and feel any one way or feel sorry, because it's all an act. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Now, my thing is, does she go away? Hopefully she does. Like, really, she doesn't. If she's smart, she'll just go away. Do I feel like she's going to come back in 4 years? We'll have to see. We'll see what goes on. And then, of course, everyone's going to be, you know, rallied. All of you who lost, who supported her. Maybe you'll be there in 4 years, or maybe you'll forget her. Think of it like this. Today, you guys are acting as if like Oprah Winfrey passed or something. We've had a terrible loss in our nation. Think of it like this. You did not care. I will end on this note, almost as I started. You did not care a single thing about this woman. No one knew who she was. You did not care. She didn't do anything as VP to impress you. None of you, and I'm talking specifically to my sisters, the black women. None of you cared and knew. There might be 0.00.5% of you who were impressed with her as a VP and put a poster of her on your wall or something, or had a pin or something. You were excited that we had a woman of color who, mind you, didn't identify as a woman of color. She identified as the first Indian woman in the Senate. Like, so that's another whole story. But I'm speaking specifically to you, saying you did not care a single thing and did not know who Kamala Harris even was. So think of it like this. You'll get over it. When she disappears, you'll be over it. Don't worry about it. It's enough. Time to Talk podcast. The concession speech. It's over. I hope she disappears. I hope she goes to her life and lives. I wish her well. I just don't want to see her in politics again. I just don't. I mean, to be fair, is it possible that she changes some things up, you know, and she switches up her stance and her allegiance to the Democrats and to the corporate interests, and maybe she becomes something different? I don't know. I highly doubt. I don't see Kamala Harris suddenly going Green Party or Libertarian or something. Like, it's not going to happen. Or Independent. That's not going to happen. Be interesting if it did happen, right? But it's not going to happen. She's going to stick. She's going to be who she is. Anyway, let her disappear. It's over. Keep in touch. It's been real. I'll see you on the next Time to Talk podcast.